Azhar, Cairo, Egypt, and also Master in Usuluddin from University Malaya, and completed his PhD in Islamic Religion Knowledge and Heritage, Usuluddin and Comparative Religion from IIUM. So he's currently the Deputy of Centris, Center of Islamization, IIMU Kuantan, and he will be sharing his experience and also lectures about principle of Muamalah in daily practice. So without further delay, I would like to invite Dr. Hasbullah. فليتفضل مشكور.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillahilladzi khalaqas samawati wal ard wa ja'ala adh-dhulumati wan nur. Thumma alladhina kafaru bi rabbihim ya'dilun. Alhamdulillah rabbil alamin wal 'aqibatu lil muttaqin. Wala 'udwana illa 'alal zalimin. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lah. Wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh. Allahumma salli wa sallim wa barik ala Muhammad wa ala alihi wa ala ashabihi wa ala at-tabi'in bi ihsanin ila yaumiddin. Subhanaka la ilma lana illa ma 'allamtana innaka antal alimul hakim. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Rabbana iftah bainana wa bain qaumina bil haqq wa anta khairul fatihin. Wala hawla wala quwwata illa billahil aliyyil azim. Wa qala Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala fi kitabihil karim, falawla nafara min kulli firqatin minhum ta'ifatun liyatafaqahu fid din wa liyunziru qaumahum idza raja'u ilaihim la'allahum yahdarun. Wa qala habibuna al-Mustafa sallallahu alaihi wasallam, man salaka tariqan yaltamisu fihi ilman sahhalallahu lahu bihi tariqan ilal jannah, atau kama qala. Amma ba'd. Alhamdulillah, thank you very much to my colleague, Mr. Chairperson, our respected guests, committee of program, and all students and participants of this program. Alhamdulillah, all praise be to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the most gracious and the most merciful, for giving me to share, little bit about the concept or principle, in Islam, in dealing with Muamalah. As we know that Muamalah is very big. This is related with our dealing. Actually, in terms of principle, this is our dealing to all, to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we call as a ibadah. And among people, including to animals and plants and so on, we call as a muamalah. So I will be discussing in terms of muamalah, based on few main principles. There are a lot of principles, generally into 5 principles, and specifically related with business. Kalau sempat related with business. Part 1 related with general muamalah, dealing with people, dealing with business, including business, and all dealing what we call as a ibadah. Boleh nampak slide Ana? Slide Ana? Boleh nampak. Boleh. Okay. So, inshallah, I will be talking on 5 important elements, okay, in dealing with muamalah. First is the concept of ibadah itself. Okay, second is performing the duties or amanah in the spirit of ihsan. Third, the concept of halal, halal and haram in Islam. Fourth, the barakah. Okay, this is very important for us, barakah. Okay, and last is social and economic justice. Okay, which is justice. Okay, when we talk about ibadah, this is actually uh, our purpose of life, as mentioned in Surah Al-Dhariyat. وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. Okay. I only create jinn and man that they may serve me. Okay. So the first glance, okay, as a Muslim, we have to have clear concept about ibadah. Okay, the failure in this part indicates failure the whole of our life. Okay. Because some of Muslim, uh, according to them, ibadah is only in masjid. Okay, ibadah is only when they recite Quran. Okay, when do the certain ibadah khususiyah. Okay, not related with the way of when we go for work, for instance. Okay, we do business. We do our favor in terms of hobby. Okay, playing football, golf, tennis. Okay, this is not related with ibadah. So this is the wrong concept. Okay, because ibadah in Islam is 24/7. Okay, the whole of our life, as mentioned in our doa istitah. Qul inna salati wa nusuki wa mahyaya wa mamati lillahi rabbil alamin. Okay, inna salati, indeed our salat, wa nusuki, our ibadah. Okay, our ibadah. Uh, wa mahyaya, and the whole of our life, okay, till the end, wa mamati, from life until end, death, all of, okay, our actions, our life uh, will be considered as ibadah when we fulfill, okay, these two conditions. Okay, which is, first is ikhlas. We do for the sake of Allah Subhanahu wa Taala. Okay, why? We go for we do our job ataupun uh, we 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 go out, okay, uh, to find nafaqah for our family, because this is the command of Allah Subhanahu wa Taala. Okay, Allah Subhanahu wa Taala command us, okay, to give sustenance to those who are under our responsibility. Okay, so when we do that for the sake of Allah Subhanahu wa Taala, because Allah Subhanahu commanded, because Allah Subhanahu wa Taala avoid us from doing that. That's why we refrain ourselves from doing wrongdoing ataupun bad things, because of fearing God, Allah Subhanahu, because of fearing Allah Subhanahu. So this is actually ikhlas. Okay. Second, follow sharia. Okay, follow the sharia, which is allowable. Okay, in Islam, which is permissible, which is haram, which is makruh. So we follow what has been determined by God, Allah Subhanahu, especially which is halal. So our amal, our deed, okay, anything related to our life considered as ibadah, including, okay, we go for sleep. Okay, and this is considered ibadah because we need rest. Okay, and after that we are able to go for nafakah. Okay, and we go to perform our responsibility towards Allah Subhanahu wa Taala. Okay, so by fulfilling these two conditions, our amal, all of our amal, okay, the whole of our life, 24/7, will be considered as a ibadah. Okay, will be rewarded. Okay, so when we go into kerja, for instance, will be rewarded when it fulfill these two conditions. We go for fishing, for instance. Okay, we wash our car, okay, will be considered as ibadah when fulfill these two conditions. Okay, because we have only 5 hukum taklifi, only 5, not 6. Okay, first is wajib. Okay, in terms of how to make it 24 hours ibadah. Okay, will be rewarded by Allah SWT. Okay, first wajib, like performing 5 daily prayers. Okay, this is wajib. So we have to do that. Okay, will be considered as ibadah, will be rewarded. Otherwise, will be punished. Okay, will be sinful. Okay, second, mandub, sunnah. Okay, Quranic recitation. Okay, so when we recite Quran, will be rewarded. Okay, otherwise we will not be sinful because this is sunnah. Sunnah, when we do that, will be rewarded. When we omit, okay, ataupun not doing that, we will not be sinful. Okay, because it's only sunnah. Okay, haram. Like drinking liquor. Okay, alcohol. Okay, so when we do that, will be punished ataupun will be sinful. When we avoid, will be rewarded. So we have to avoid from that. Okay. First, wajib we have to do. Mandub, sunnah we have to do. Haram we have to avoid. Makruh. When we do that, we will be blamed, but will not be sinful. When we avoid that, will be rewarded. So we have to avoid. Okay, because to get reward from Allah Subhanahu wa Taala. Okay, so remain permissible. Okay, most more than half of our life, daily life, daily is permissible. Okay, like sleeping. Okay, we go to do our job. Okay, we do apa, for jogging. Okay, for instance. So those activity are permissible. But when we fulfill these two conditions, ikhlas and follow syara, okay, like eating, okay, we eating, drinking, okay, fulfill these two conditions. We start with Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, okay, to show our ikhlas to Allah Subhanahu wa Taala, and we follow syara. We eat only what which is permissible to us, so will be considered as a ibadah. Okay, so this is very important for Muslim, okay, to make the whole of life as ibadah. Okay, so including in dealing with muamalah. Okay. Okay, second, performing, okay, in doing our, as we know that the whole of our life, which actually, okay, amanah, okay, towards Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. Meaning that, okay, we have two type of amanah. First, specific amanah, when, okay, we are answerable to our employer, okay, the owner of company, agencies, okay. And second is amanah towards Allah. The whole of our life is actually amanah, and we will be answerable in the day of judgment, okay, on all of our deeds in this world, because Allah SWT will ask, okay, what you do, okay, with your life, okay, what you did in this world, okay, with your time, okay, with your wealth, okay, all things will be questions in the day of judgment. Okay, because this should not belong to us. Okay, this belong to Allah Subhanahu wa Taala. So we have two type of amanah. Okay, amanah specifics and general amanah towards Allah Subhanahu wa Taala. So performing amanah is ibadah. Okay, will be rewarded. Otherwise, will be sinful. So this sense is very important to us. Okay, to be careful in doing our amanah, in doing our job responsibilities, because there is, okay, consequences of that. Okay, consequences in here, you have after will be rewarded or will be punished. Okay, in this work we will be audited. Okay, will be audited. Okay, we will be controlled, okay, by our employer. Okay, and will affect promotion, will affect our performance. So, okay, at the same time, okay, maknanya we put together, okay, all of this, okay, we are answerable to both, okay, to people, to the owner of company, the agencies, and also to the honor of mankind. Okay, to the honor of this word makhluk, okay, which is Allah Subhanahu wa Taala. So at the same time, we will get to okay salary in the end of the day, and will be okay inshallah in the Jannah, okay, in the hereafter. Okay, so this concept made us apa aware, okay, on our amanah. Okay, and we have to do with ikhlas, okay, with ikhlas in the spirit of ihsan. So according to Al-Marhum Sheikh Dr. Yusuf Al-Qaradawi, he said that we will be successful in our life when we fulfill four elements atau four conditions. Okay, the first two is ikhlas and muraqabah, which means ikhlas towards Allah Subhanahu wa Taala as previously mentioned, and second is muraqabah. What is muraqabah? First, okay, like the previous one. Okay, ikhlas and follow syara. First, muraqabah is we have to do correctly. Okay, meaning follow syara. What has been determined to us, what has been commanded, okay, and is as in Islamic teaching. And when we do that, we do in the best way. Okay, so this is muraqabah. Okay, do correctly and do okay in the best way. Buat dengan cara yang betul, and bila buat betul-betul. Okay, so in the spirit of ihsan, okay, we inshallah we will get okay a reward, a lot of reward from Allah Subhanahu wa Taala because of excellence. Okay, we do that in excellent manners. Okay, so this is the concept, okay, in dealing with our responsibility, because in Islam the dignity, kemuliaan come, okay, by performing, okay, by performing your responsibility, not by holding your responsibility. Okay, a lot of people today want to be minister, okay, want to be somebody, because when they hold that position, okay, they think they got, okay, and they got dignity. So in Islam, no. Okay, Islam dignity, when you hold that position, you have to perform that. Okay, by performing that, you will be rewarded, okay, or otherwise. Okay, so this is the Islamic concept, okay, on the dignity, kemuliaan, okay, by performing your responsibility. All people deserve to get dignity in the sight of Allah by performing their position. Okay, position as a head of state, position as a head of department, position as a head of family, or at least position as a head of himself. Okay, doing responsibility, give the right, okay, to your body, okay, to your akal. Okay, so you will be, okay, you will be in the Jannah, inshallah. Okay, syaratnya lah perform. Okay, and perform in the best way, the spirit of ihsan. Inna Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, okay, like in hadith, Inna Allah katabal ihsan ala kulli syai. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala kataba menetapkan ihsan ala kulli syai, okay, to do the best. Fa idza qataltum fa ahsinu al-qitlah, fa idza dhabhtum fa ahsinu adh-dhabh. When you do qisas, you have to do in the best way. When you do slaughtering, and you have to do in the best way. So this is Islam. Okay, when Islam encourages us to do something, okay, he put the highest level, which is excellent, and inshallah we will go towards that. Okay, okay, those who fulfill amanah, okay, we know that amanah in the spirit of ihsan, those who fulfill amanah, okay, will be rewarded. Okay, will be rewarded and being considered as a mujahid fi sabilillah. Okay, and this shows that a lot of reward, mujahid, as long they still in the way of Allah Subhanahu wa Taala, they will be rewarded. Okay, they will be rewarded. As mentioned, al-amil idha stu'mila fa'akhadha al-haqq wa a'ta al-haqq lam yazal kal mujahid fi sabilillah hatta yarji' ila baitih. Okay, this is including for public servant. Okay, go for work. Okay, considered as a mujahid fi sabilillah. Okay, from morning. Okay, go out for work and after they return home. Okay, when the administrator is given a job, he should receive his due and should pay the dues of others as amanah. Then he is like a fighter, okay, mujahid, in the cause of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay, which means will be rewarded the whole day, okay, till he returns home. Okay, so this is benda yang apa, keberuntungan for Muslim. We will get both, two, maknanya material things, salary, and also reward from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So for those who involved in service, okay, do your best, okay, because your service will be rewarded by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with a lot of reward. That's why Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam compared ataupun do a metaphor here as a mujahid fi sabilillah, because mujahid is the higher ranking in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay, and also will get a lot of reward from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay, the dishonesty is sinful and punishable in the day of judgment and otherwise. Okay, because of not amanah. Okay, so you will be answerable of, okay, your wrongdoing and will be punished with severe punishment. Okay. As mentioned in hadith, إِذَا جَمَعَ اللَّهُ الْأَوَّلِينَ وَالْآخِرِينَ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ يُرْفَعُ لِكُلِّ غَادِرٍ لِوَاءٌ فَقِيلَ هَذِهِ غَدْرَةُ فُلَانٍ ibn Fulan. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, one day, on the day of judgment, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will gather all people, okay, in mahsyar, past and present, whole people, okay, all people will be there. A flag will be fixed for every deceiver. Okay, we will know that. Okay, who are those who very good, okay, people perform the amanah. Okay, those of deceiver. Okay, those of people did wrongdoing. Okay, we know by flag. Okay, and that belong to them. Okay, by which he will be recognized. So it will be said that this is the group of such and such deceivers. Okay, so this is very embarrassing. Okay, so we have to realize that. Okay, that when we did in this word, it is not only, okay, finished in this word. In hereafter, Allah will reveal everything and will be questions in every single deed, and will got a reward or punishment. It also causes various moral diseases and harm to society, okay, like usury, okay, rasuah dan sebagainya lagi, kan kita tahu lah. Man ista'malna minkum ala amalin faqatana miqyatan fama fawqahu kana ghululan ya'ti bihi yaumal qiyamah. The Prophet said, whomsoever we have given we have given samples, and he has concealed even a needle, very small, okay, smallest thing among the smallest thing, needle, or thing smaller than that, okay, then it will be a misappropriated thing with which will have to appear on the day of judgment, will be counted, okay, will be questions, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, okay, consider them as a ghulul, deceiver, okay, pengkhianat, okay, in the day of judgment, because of not amanah, okay, in doing their duties and responsibilities, okay, towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and towards their employer. Okay, itu konsep amanah and ihsan, okay, in the spirit of ihsan. Okay, and then we look at the concept of halal, earning and spending. Okay, in Islam, everything from beginning to the end, okay, we have to do correctly. Okay, just the mean not justify the end, not justify the means. Okay. Tuh, okay. Okay, gaining and spending of wealth are restricted to halal things only. Mana gaining, okay, mana the way we collect money, okay, we find money has to be okay, halal, has to be okay in line with the sharia. Okay, even ingredients ataupun the process, okay, and so on and so forth. And spending, also spending, to spend in the right place, okay, of wealth restricted to halal things only. Okay, what has been determined by Allah, what has been uh, allowed, okay, by Allah Subhanahu wa Taala. Otherwise, it is forbidden. Which means if you give charity not in halal in halal place ataupun uh, which is not in halal way, so will not be considered as a sedekah, not sedekah. Okay, sedekah which come from halal earning and give to halal way ataupun halal spending. Okay, Islam allows to invest capital in halal enterprise. Okay, Islam does not prohibit. Islam does not prohibit, but must related with halal enterprise. Okay, halal process. Okay, although it might bring less profit, maybe less profit. Okay, as compared to haram enterprise. So we have to choose halal because we want to make from beginning to the end. Okay, our process of earning, okay, and spending will be rewarded. Okay, and will be counted as a ibadah. Okay, benefit of halal earning. Okay, little bit benefit halal work and he earnings are kind of ibadah. Okay, and will be rewarded. So bila ibadah when we reach to the level ibadah will be rewarded. Surely lah will be rewarded. Okay, whatever is spent out of halal earning is considered as sedekah. Okay, even we feed our family. Okay, and this is the best sedekah. The best sedekah for man is feeding his family. Okay, and after that, the closer one. Okay, and after that, okay, neighbors, okay, and people out there lah. Okay, or what is stolen or eaten by birds, animal, or destroyed, okay, by others. So everything happen, Allah will cover. Okay, will consider this is as a sadaqah, will be rewarded. Okay, so don't worry. Okay, if a bird come and eat your paddy, okay, this is actually you have to reda to Allah Subhanahu wa Taala, and you have to do something lah. Okay, but everything eaten by bird or by animal will be considered as a sadaqah, will be rewarded. Okay, so provided halal, halal earning, halal process, and everything is halal. Okay, halal earning will be blessed, barakah. This is very important because barakah which is enough, sufficient. Okay, sufficient and benda yang very good. Okay, for those who get barakah from Allah Subhanahu wa Taala. Halal earning will bring to its possessor peace of mind and help him to have a clear conscience. Okay, tenang. Okay, tranquil, happiness in life. Okay, some evil of haram earning, okay, otherwise will be, okay, burden in the day of judgment. Okay, will be punished, okay, in the day of judgment. For those who steal something, that things will burn himself in the day of judgment in the hellfire. Na'uzubillah. Okay, the rejection of dua. Okay, so when we do dua, okay, when Allah Subhanahu wa Taala accept our dua in this word, okay, Alhamdulillah, if Allah Subhanahu wa Taala does not accept, it doesn't mean does reject, but Allah delay our dua and Allah provide in day of judgment. But those who involved in haram earning will not get, okay, those kind of rahmat from Allah. Okay, blessing will be lifted from it. Sedekah will not be accepted by Allah. Rugilah, kan? Kalau kita cari, kita not want to do charity, but will not consider as sedekah. But those who get goods or something, this is okay for them. But for donor, okay, he will get nothing. Okay, haram wealth will be a witness against its honor on the day of judgment. Okay, as a saksi, in front of Allah SWT, what he did, or he or she did in this world as a saksi. So be careful. It possessor will have always a guilty conscience. Okay, tak tenang jiwa. Okay, principles, the doctrine of halal and haram. Okay, in Islam. Okay, first, the concept of permissibility of things. Okay, keharusan. Okay, which refers to halal and haram. Okay, this is determined by Allah. Okay, nothing. Okay, determined by Allah, which refers to in terms of muamalah lah. Okay, in terms of muamalah, nothing is haram. Okay, everything. Okay, because haram is very few. So in Islam, Islam put, okay, everything is halal, except what has been determined by Allah as a haram. Okay, itu konsep dia. Al-aslu fil asya, asal pada sesuatu al-ibahah, permissible. Okay, illa ma harramallahu alaih, kecuali Allah haramkan. Okay, ataupun illa ma dalla alaihi dalilun ala tahrimi, ada dalil yang mengharamkannya, because okay, secara umumnya everything, benda yang umumnya ialah dia harus. Nak makan kayu, makanlah, except what has been okay determined by Allah as a haram, kecuali, sebagai contoh. Okay, nothing is haram except what is prohibited by any text of the Quran as our primary sources, kan, and sunnah. All the principles, Islamic principle derived from them. Okay, that anything that lead to harm is haram. So this is principle. Okay, this is apa kita kata totally contradictory with the concept of ibadah. Okay, tadi yang kata other than ibadah, which is muamalah. Okay, dia bersifat original hukum is permissible, harus, except what has been determined as haram and otherwise. Okay, but in ibadah, okay, original hukum of ibadah is haram, except there is dalil show us to do that ataupun command us to do that. Itu beza. That's why we cannot perform solat zuhur 5 rakaat. Okay, asalnya ialah haram to perform zuhur. Okay, except what has been determined by syarak. Okay, syarak refer to revelation lah, Al-Quran Sunnah, which is 4 rakaat for zuhur, kan. So we have to do 4 rakaat after maknanya gelincir matahari. Okay, in ibadah nothing is permitted. Itu konsep dia. Al-aslu fil ibadah al-muharramah. Asal dalam ibadah haram. Okay, not permitted, not mubah, not permissible, except what has been determined by Allah ataupun syarak, its validity. Bila Allah kata boleh, baru boleh. Okay, in worldly activity, this is worldly activity, this is muamalah. Okay, nothing is haram except what has been determined by Allah. Okay, it's prohibition. This is concept. Okay, jadi clear pada kita. As long there is no restriction, there is no text that indicates haram, ataupun there is no fatwa, so this is actually permissible lah secara umumnya. Okay, second, to make lawful or prohibit is the right of Allah alone. The right of Allah alone, which is syarak. Okay, to determine what is good, what is bad, okay, is the right of Allah alone. Menentukan baik dan buruk, okay, is the right of Allah alone. Maknanya syarak. Okay, that's why our religion we call as a God-centered, because God, okay, determine everything. Okay, which is good, which is bad, okay, which is lawful, unlawful, everything, okay, determined by Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. So what we call as a God-centered, as compared to other views, we call as a human-centered, based on human thinking, based on human view. Okay, but in Islam, based on God permission, based on God principles, which is refers to Quran and Sunnah, and Islamic principles derived from Quran and Sunnah as well. Okay, tu jadi clear. Okay, third, prohibiting the halal, which is clearly halal lah. Okay, like marriage is halal, clearly halal. Okay, and permitting the haram, which is clearly haram, like liquor, is similar to shirk, because we do against what has clearly mentioned by Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. For hukum, which is not clear, okay, sometimes some scholars said haram, sometimes some scholars is makruh, it is not included in this part. Okay, so be careful. Okay, any shara, any kind of shara, okay, any part of shara, what has been determined by God, we have to accept. If you reject, okay, if you feel, okay, that you not not believe in that, okay, ataupun not accept that, okay, this is will be, okay, made will that those will commit apostasy because of against what has clearly mentioned, okay, in Islam. Okay. Okay, fourth, the prohibition of things. Tak nampak sebab dia tersembunyi sikit. Sekejap. Okay, the prohibition of things is due to their impurity and harmfulness. Okay, basically, okay, everything what has been prohibited in Islam is, okay, is due to their impurity, harmfulness, problem, okay, that will make will destroy our life. Okay, so this is the concept, okay, of haram. Everything what has been, but we have to accept the shara first, and we want to do research to confirm what has been determined by shara is okay. Islam opens that, okay? Islam allows that to do that, and in the end of the day, okay, everything when we do to confirm, actually we confirm that statement which haram or halal in Islam is true, okay, benar. Okay. 5, what is halal is sufficient, good, okay, what is haram is superfluous, okay, we no need to that. Okay, so this is the concept of halal. That's why there is no no reason to us, okay, to reject what has been determined by Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala as a halal and a haram, because everything is halal is okay, okay, and haram is not okay, will be, okay, in trouble or in problem. Okay, 6, whatever is conducive to haram is self-harm. Okay, if something is prohibited, anything that leads to it is likewise prohibited. Okay, so easy to us. That's why the concept ibadah, meaning that our life is ibadah, just follow. Ibadah, which means ta'at, patuh, okay, to everything what has been determined by Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. So the good Muslim, okay, the successful Muslim, those who obey Allah. Okay, obey in this case what is halal, and obey also what is haram. Just follow, you will be successful. Okay, 7, good intention does not make the haram acceptable. Okay, good intention not enough. Okay, not enough. Okay, good intention is not enough. Okay, for instance, like Robin Hood. Okay, stealing other properties to help others. This is not, okay. This is not, okay, not acceptable. Okay. 8, doubtful things, syubhat, are to be avoided. Okay, so Islam stop not only something which is clearly haram. So this is the beautifulness of Islam. Which something doubtful, syubhat, whether haram or not, we have to stop from that. Okay, not exceed that. Okay, apa lagi yang clearly haram kan? So this is concept of Islam. And in other way, we call as a wara'. Wara' ialah taraka juz'an min al-halal. Meninggalkan sedikit yang halal, makhafatal wuqu' fil haram, takut langgar yang haram. So the concept of syubhah in Islam, we have to stop. Okay, we have not to take the syubhah. Okay, apa lagi yang haram kan? And last, okay, in Islam there is always kita kata exception. There is always rukhsah. There is always way, okay, for those who are not able to do that. Okay, like, okay, in this maxim, necessity dictate exception. Ad-darurah tubihul mahzurah. Ad-darurat, okay, indicates exception. Okay, there is no food other than the flesh, which is haram. Okay, which is not slaughtered. But if you don't, okay, consume that haram ingredient, you will be suffer more than that. Okay, severe suffer. Okay, for instance, you will maybe lead to death. So at that time, you have to take that food, even though this is haram. Okay, but even in this case, this is compulsory, wajib. Okay, to take care of maslahah, money more than that, which is death, life, to survive your life. So you have to take this because you have no ways, you have no other ways which is allowable to do. Okay, so this in this case, dalam kes ni ialah Islam allows that. Okay, so this concept, necessity dictate exception. There are a lot of principle, concept yang related with legal medicine. Okay, ad-darurah tubihul mahzurah. Okay, irtikab akhafud dararain. Okay, if you have two mudarat, you have to take the lesser one. Okay, so itu di antaranya lah. Okay, and then next, the attainment of barakah. As I mentioned just now, barakah is very important. So barakah is generally we call as a sufficient, cukup. Okay, cukup. Maknanya even though in terms of earning salary, okay, maybe not okay much than as compared to others, but enough to him and to his family. Okay, to live in kita kata apa, tranquil life. Okay, in happiness. Okay, so this is barakah. Okay, barakah actually taken from pond, birkah. Birkah ni tasik. Tasik maknanya aliran masuk banyak kan, aliran keluar sedikit. That's why they gathered a lot of water. Kan, itu maknanya berkah. Berkahnya ialah kebaikan-kebaikan yang banyak. Okay, Allah sufficiently provide human needs and satisfaction in proper manner. Even though we just only cooking, okay, by ourselves, but okay, that the taste, okay, maknanya lebih baik daripada 6-star hotel. Okay, so this is what we call as barakah, very subjective. Okay, but lucky for those, okay, that Allah SWT give them that. Okay, ataupun Allah SWT bestowed, okay, by Allah SWT this kind of barakah. So barakah is attainable, first is, okay, by ikhlas. Okay, orang tak ikhlas, bukan barakah, itu dinamakan sebagai istidraj. Maknanya kelebihan yang diberikan padanya sebenarnya lagi menyesatkannya. Okay. Second, must follow syarak. There is no barakah in haram things. Okay, in haram ingredients, in haram, okay, tak boleh. And barakah ialah bestowed by Allah SWT for those who He likes. Okay. Social and economic justice. Okay, justice is very, very important in Islam. As we know that KPI in Islam is very simple. First is failure, zalim. Zalim against adil. Put something in the wrong place. Okay, second pass. Pass is adil. Okay, and third is excellent, ihsan. Okay, so adil can be in various things. Okay, okay, among the concept of adil, to place thing in rightful place. Okay, generally, to give everyone his right and what he deserves. Also adil, to be impartial in one judgment and decision, to say the truth. to be balanced in one view and judgment, okay, also adil, and to avoid bias and prejudice, also adil, to avoid oppressing and tyrannizing others. So this kind of adil, okay, so we have to Islam, okay, Islam play this role, okay, in dealing with all kind of people, okay. Social and economic justice, to achieve the minimum required standard of social and economic justice, the following measures were taken by Islam. Okay, people were given the right to private ownership, okay, and freedom of economic pursuit. Okay, this is freedom. But if you gain a lot of money, okay, a lot of profit, okay, become rich, okay, millionaire, so you have to pay zakat. Okay, so this is the balance. Okay, the balance. Okay, take a little bit from them and give to, okay, those who deserve from us now. Okay, the wealth of individual is fully protected. Okay, no one, okay, has right to take other properties. Otherwise, they will be punished with severe punishment as in hudud, kan, dalam hukum hudud. Establishing a social welfare fund to help the poor and needy people. Okay, like zakah. There are a lot of mechanism, okay, in Islam. Okay, there is wajib, compulsory way, we call as a zakat. Okay, in terms of recommended way, antaranya ialah wakaf, okay, tabarruk, hibah, okay, a lot of things, banyak. Because this is the way that how to make balance, okay, among people. Because Allah SWT make us in different status. Ada kaya, ada miskin, kan? Ada senang, ada sakit. Tapi Allah SWT, okay, put the money for poor, okay, in the pocket of rich people. Okay, and joining zakat on the rich people to be given to the poor. Okay, so this is what I call a social justice. Okay, social justice which refer to social yang balance, okay, among, okay, our society. Okay, wallahu alam. Apabila ada segi konsep umum. Okay, a little bit nak sebut tentang specific. In specific way is business. Okay, so there are ada lagi beberapa perkara yang lebih spesifik related with business. Okay, other than yang disebut di atas lah. Okay, secara ringkas lah nak sebut. Okay, first is fulfilling contract and promises. So fulfilling contract, okay, is, okay, bound, okay, by the Islamic teaching. Okay, no matter, okay, you deal with whom, okay, Muslim, non-Muslim, even your enemy, so you have to fulfill contracts. Okay, unless the contract which contradict with the Islamic principle, this is invalid. Okay, itu cara kasar lah. Yang kedua, upholding honesty and trustfulness and avoiding deception. Okay, this is very important lah dalam kita nak deal dengan orang. Okay, third, avoiding false and misleading advertisement. Fourth, accurate measurement and weights. Fifth, avoiding hoarding and profiteering. Okay. Sixth, avoiding greediness in making profits. Upholding a balance between competitiveness and cooperation and giving advice to Muslims. Eight, avoiding riba, okay, unlawful interest and unlawful trade. Okay, to avoid dealing in haram commodities, to avoid doubtful thing ataupun doubtful method syubhat, and to avoid bribery and any kind of bribery. Okay, that's all lah. Secara ringkas, the principles in dealing with muamalah and specifically dealing with business. Sebab bila sebut muamalah ni dia nak buat business, tapi not only business. Actually, there are a lot of contracts. There are a lot of akad. Okay, as mentioned by Buya Hamka, we have a lot of akad. Okay, the most important akad is our syahadah, our confession towards Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala. Asyhadu an la ilaha illallah wa anna Muhammadan Rasulullah, and we answer in front of Allah because we do that kind of dealing with Allah. Okay, la ilaha illallah means, okay, there is no worship except Allah. There is no reference except Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala. There is nothing except Allah. So what we did in this work will be questioned in the day of judgment, inshallah. Hopefully lah, inshallah, dengan we realize, okay, that we have contract. Okay, this is our amanah, so we have to fulfill the amanah to those who deserve to get amanah, okay, from us, okay, whether specific or generally towards Allah Subhanahu wa Taala. So we have to realize that we have to perform in the best way. Inshallah, we will be successful not only in hereafter but as well as in this world as well. Inshallah. Jazakumullah khairul jazak. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Dr. Hasbullah, for the lectures about Muamalah, the principle of Muamalah in daily practice. We do have some time for question, Doctor. There's a question asked. In Muamalah, Doctor, especially in doctor-patient relationship, it is difficult sometimes to explain everything regarding a procedure or treatment. Sometimes we may be focusing on the common thing first, and we forgot to mention about the rare complication regarding certain procedure or treatment. Is it acceptable? I mean, are we, become amanah in our relation with the patient if we miss those rare complications in terms of the procedures of treatment?
Okay, basically, we have to explain what they deserve to know lah, kan? Okay, this is type of mana. But in case of maybe something very rare, and we are dalam keadaan yang maybe tertinggal, okay. So hopefully lah, okay, this is part of which is forgiven lah for us, okay, because this is not kita bukan sengaja. Tapi because of maybe in explaining that, okay, there is something yang tertinggal dan sebagainya, tapi actually the cover lah, okay, maknanya kita punya explanation itu sufficient enough, okay, mana to them, okay, before undergo operation dan sebagainya lagi, okay. Jadi diharapkanlah mana kita buat the best, okay, the best way yang terbaik. Selalu ada there is lacking, okay, shortcoming, mungkin kita boleh improve from day to day lah, daripada semasa ke semasa, tetapi benda-benda asas clear dah kan. So kita anggap sebagai kita fulfill our amanah, okay, and maybe maknanya we need to improve from time to time lah, okay, because time is very limited kan, nak cerita mungkin terlalu panjang, maka kita skip to the most important part. We have to know in terms of consequences atau kesan daripada itu dan sebagainya.
Another question regarding muamalah in the economic field. So regarding waqaf, is it permissible to use money or cash as waqaf? And how does it differ compared to sadaqah in terms of money, waqaf in terms of cash, in the form of cash?
Okay, Alhamdulillah. In terms of wakaf tunai, as mentioned today, wakaf tunai money, okay, this is well known today. This as almost all jabatan agama or agencies in Malaysia practice that. Okay, so sudah pastilah bila mereka nak melaksanakan tersebut, mereka akan refer to authority lah, mufti dan sebagainya lagi. So bagi kita tidak ada halangan, sebab kalau ada halangan pasti mereka akan dibahas dulu terlebih awal lah kan perkara tersebut. Okay, but for me lah, in terms of sedekah lah, sedekah adalah okay, as among orang kata the way, okay, which is easy to us to get reward. That's why Allah SWT bila mention tentang sedekah, dia go up through kepada 700, okay, up kepada unlimited. Okay, this is the best way. Mana kalau nak sedekah senang, sedekah lah. Okay, that's why we got a lot of terms refer to sedekah, macam-macam nama kan. Dia ada nama zakah. Zakah bermakna at-taharah, membersihkan diri kita, ataupun an-numu, bertambah harta kita. Dia ada nama sedekah. Sedekah which mean that indicate our iman is true. Okay, orang yang benar iman kepada Allah, dia akan prove that, okay, melalui sedekah. Wakaf, he maknanya he put something, okay, maknanya he stopped himself from using that money, okay, that property for the sake of Allah, untuk digunakan pada jalan Allah. That is why wakaf kan. Wakaf dia berhenti, dia tak guna untuk dia, tapi dia guna untuk orang ramai. Okay. Kemudian hibah, hadiah, lot of things, okay, terms refer kepada sedekah. Apa boleh kita ambilnya ialah antara hikmah disebut banyak nama ni kerana masing-masing ada kriteria tersendiri, ada keistimewaan dia tersendiri, ada kelebihan tersendiri. So bila nama banyak yang baik-baik ni, buat semua. Okey, buat semua. Okey. Okey, yang sedekah. Okey, yang wakaf, buat semua supaya kita ada taste, rasa semua dan kita akan dapat kelebihan tersendiri melalui nama-nama tersebut. Okey. As compared to nama dosa. Banyak juga nama dosa. Okey, nama-nama dosa yang merujuk pada individu atau gelaran antaranya ialah kadzab, orang banyak dusta, kan? Antaranya ialah ghulul macam tadi, orang yang khianat terhadap amanah dia. Antaranya disebut dengan nama fasik, orang yang banyak buat dosa. Okey. Disebut dengan pelbagai nama. So this kind of great sin jangan lekat pada kita. Kalau lekat pada kita, bahaya kita. Okey, as compared to nama sedekah tadi kan. Rasa semua nama sedekah supaya kita akan dapat kelebihan yang banyak, masing-masing ada keistimewaan sendiri. Okey, so this yang anda nak tambah sikit lah tentang ni. Tapi wakaf tunai itu memang allowable lah. Okey, sebab tidak sesuai dengan zaman sekarang. Okey, zaman sekarang wakaf tanah, kita tak ada tanah kan. So wakaf tunai di-convert dalam bentuk lot dan sebagainya lagi ataupun seumpama lagi, so acceptable lah in Islam.
Okay, Doctor, maybe last question from our participant. Salam, Doctor. What extent can we give sedekah to the beggars, because they will not stop begging as it is their fixed job, begging for sedekah.
Okay, this is very important to us to ponder the ayah ataupun kita tadabbur lah ayat 261 sehingga 264 surah Al-Baqarah. Okey. Ringkaslah anda cerita di situ. Okey. Disebut tentang yang pertama ialah disebut tentang kelebihan of the sedekah ataupun infak, tabarruk dan sebagainya lagi lah. Okey. Kemudian after that, okey, disebut tentang ganjaran sampai pada apa? Wallahu yudha'ifu liman yasha' kan. Sampai 700. Kemudian Allah boleh gandakan sebanyak mungkin. Okey, there mana benda yang kita kena akui antara kelebihan daripada sedekah yang reach to the level like Lailatul Qadar ialah sedekah. Okey, salah satu. Sebab sedekah kalau Lailatul Qadar dia starting from 1000 bulan and above. Okey, sedekah dia start dengan 10, 700 and above juga kan. Dia ada persamaan. But okay, we have to be careful. Okay, walaupun banyak ganjaran yang besar. Okay, and after that, after the ayah 262, bagaimana Allah menyebut two condition dengan dua syarat. Jaga dua ni, insya-Allah tak kiralah siapalah kita bagi. Okay, yang pertama disebut
la yutbi'una ma anfaqu mannan wala adha.
Ya. Mathalul ladzina alladzina yunfikuna amwalahum fi sabilillah. Okay, first, thumma la yutbi'una ma anfaqu mannan wala adha. Okey, dua. Maknanya jangan ikuti dengan apa yang kita infak, mannan, jangan ungkit-ungkit. Yang kedua wal adha. So when we give to bigger, okay, be careful our mouth, mulut. Kalau tak nak bagi, jangan bagi. Okey, kalau bagi, okey, jangan ungkit. Okey, instead dalam ayat selepasnya mengatakan apa? Qaulun ma'rufun wa maghfiratun. Maknanya kata-kata ma'ruf. Kalau kita nampak dia macam sihat, segar bugar kan. So give advice. Kata adalah lebih baik kalau pak cik ni ataupun adik ni kerja, okey, lagi boleh pahala banyak. Advice. Okey, jangan mencela, jangan mengungkit. Okey, jangan menyakiti, tapi give good advice. Or doa. Okey, masalah dia guna tak guna, it is not our business. Okey, Allah akan reward us based on our intention. Okey, so jangan cara dia. Dua ni kena jaga. Jangan manan wala adha. Jangan mungkit-ungkit, jangan menyakiti. Sebaliknya kita doa yang baik, kita beri nasihat yang baik dan insya-Allah part kita settle. Part dia dengan Allah. Okey. So dalam konteks beggars hari ni kita buat macam itulah. Kita bagi advice yang baik. Okey. Jangan menyakiti. Doa mudah-mudahan dengan doa dia menyebabkan patutnya dia bekerja, dia malah menjadikan dia rajin. Okey, menjadikan dia ini akan berusaha, berdikari dan sebagainya. Okey, wallahu a'lam.
Okay. Thank you again, Dr. Hasbullah, for the lectures and also experience also answering the question at the end of the lectures. So we would like to proceed with our next lecture. For that, I would like to invite Prof. Dr. Aminuddin bin Cik Ahmad. He gained his bachelor degree in University of Science of Malaysia and also completed his Master of Surgery in Orthopedic from University Kebangsaan Malaysia. He's currently beside the consultant in Orthopedic Department. He's also a head for the Sharia Compliance Unit Sultan Ahmad Shah Medical Center. So without further delay, I would like to invite Prof. Dr. Aminuddin for a lecture about professionalism as a medical specialist from Islamic perspective. فليتفضل مشكورا.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Jazakallah, Mr. Irfan, for your introduction. Actually, I'm giving the last lecture of the whole morning. How many minutes I have? I think I'm on time and I can
on time. About 1 hour, Prof. 1 hour, Prof.
1 hour. Okay, inshallah, I will stop before Zuhur because I think it's important for us to keep the time free for our prayer after that. Okay, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, wassalatu wassalamu ala asrafil anbiya wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammad. Amma ba'd. Can you hear clearly, is it?
Clear, Prof. Clear.
Alhamdulillah. So for our discussion today, I'll try to divide it according to what is the important part of the professionalism, ethics, and etiquette for us as the medical specialist or for us as a physician. And I will cover it, I think, is in overview of what is the item that we are discussing, and a bit in terms of the Islamic perspective of it, which is, I think, is important for us. In general, the Islamic principle is a universal principle, even we are Muslim or non-Muslim. If there is good values, good elements that we can follow, that is the best thing that we can do, then there is proper things which is having a very good outcome later on, then we can proceed with it. Okay, I will cover the professionalism in medicine, the definition and a bit of the elements, this Islamic perspective of the professionalism, Islamic medical ethics, the ethic in the medical practice, as well as touch a bit on how this declination of ethics, the professionalism will lead to the consequences, which is we are trying to avoid. Okay, by the definition, we don't have the real comprehensive definition of professionalism, but somehow we can actually giving the literature review or literature meaning of the professionalism, which I took from the famous library of the dictionary. This indicate the skill, good judgment, and then polite behavior that is expected from a person who is trained to do a job well. And the professionalism is commonly understood as the individual adherence to a set of standards, including the ethics, code of conduct, which is related to the ethics and etiquette, or the collection of quality that characterize accepted practice within the particular area of the activity. Similar like what we have now, we are in the medical field, we are on our subspecialties or specialty, then the standard actually is different from the group to the group. We are going to discuss more bit detail after this. Okay. And in terms of the medical specialty, as we mentioned just now, it's a branch of medical practice that have their own focus. And we are the medical specialists, is a qualified doctors or qualified physician, in addition to our recognized basic medical degree, where we had passed years ago, and completed their specialized education that most of us now, as a postgraduate student, we are now actually in our specialized education and training. And later on, once you graduate, you registered with the Malaysian Medical Council, and then National Specialist Registry, NSR, which is become the approved body who are recognize you as a specialist. Then you become specialist. Then with this kind of the bound that we are having, so that we are actually have the set of the standard that we have to fulfill. As an expectation, the professional competency or the professional competence is the habitual and judicious use of communication, knowledge, technical skill, clinical reasoning, emotion, values, reflection in daily practice for the benefit of the individuals or community that being served. This is another definition from the Western world. Okay. The element of professional, which I took from Setu Rahman, something like a prerequisite, we need to have the formal education, must be control over the educational standard, means kita kena MQA certified that our curriculum is up to the standard. And then we have the self-regulatory disciplinary standard that we also have to look into of the conduct, the ethics of the professional of our body. And scholarly journal, most of the time we have our own journal in medical. If, for example, we have a medical journal, we have the specific subspecialty journal. That is element of a professional. And most of the time, relatively high social status, as we know that this is what we are actually is a given, gifted to us as we are in the higher class. Most of us, once we graduate, we are no more B14, we are no more M40. Sorry, M40. We must be higher than that. Okay, this is in terms of the pay, because when you are profession, we have a profession, you are professional, you are going to be paid for it. Okay, the protection from the state and state regulation or the pressure. It's not only regulation, but also pressure. For example, nowadays, our profession, even we say we are protected, we still have impact when there is the economic down, or there is something that private pressure. You need more people to be outside there. So, but by right, our profession need to be protected from there. Okay, the dimension of professionalism in healthcare. Okay, we are going to get looks into big detail in terms of this dimension. This is all the things that we get from the Western model of the professionalism to be clinical competence, and we have the good communication skill. Then after that, the sound understanding of ethics, with the accountability, honest, integrity, altruism, or no selfishness, excellence, as well as humanism. This is a part of the dimension that mentioned in the Western model of the professionalism. Sure. Okay. In short, professionalism is about placing the interest of others ahead of one's personal interest. This is actually which is, if we look at the Islamic perspective, that is really the things that we want. We want to actually is helping others without thinking of our interest first. Okay, so that's why you are become a professional as a doctor or medical specialist. We are looking at the Islamic perspective of basic value of professionalism, adding to what they are mentioned previously. We also need a faith, iman, consciousness or taqwa, best character, the akhlaq, excellent performance, al-itqan, strive toward the perfection or betterment, ihsan, responsibility, the amanah, as well as self-accountability. or we call it the muhasabah al-nafs. Okay, Iman, how the Iman improve the professionalism? There are two ways. The first one is the motivating to practice in holistic medicine, in taking the medicine as a life, as an integrative of a Tawheed that we are listen to Datuk Hamidun this morning. That is first the ways that how the things that we relate to professionalism. The second thing is about the humble and then less arrogant. Through the realization of we as an agent, not the cause of a cure. The ultimate cure is from Allah, and that is a qadar from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is a predetermined. Okay, this is the relate to the concept of Iman for the professionalism. The second one is about taqwa. They makes the doctors to be conscious of his duty. We are aware of what is our duty, and then we do our duty meticulously and perform it in the full knowledge of Allah, because we know whatever we do, Allah actually is looking or observe what we are doing. And then if we are alone also, the Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will watch us. God will watch us. And then like where we have a human observation, we cannot see hidden mistake and the bad intention what we do. They never know, but Allah know it. Okay, this is about taqwa. The third one is the akhlaq. Okay, the akhlaq is the most important because akhlaq is related to the adab or etiquette for us as a medical personnel. Okay, then the best human interaction between doctors and then doctors and the patient, doctors and then our colleagues, is with a good akhlaq. We are sure that we are balanced, we are humanity, we have the ukhwah or brotherhood, social responsibility. We do the work, or we actually do more charity, do work outside our time of as doctors. This is a part of our akhlaq as well. Then we are talking about the Islamic character of a professionalism. Okay, we have the ihsan. Ihsan is related to the quality of what we are doing. Either we do it as a sincere intention, ikhlas, or we have to be do is in the best way, the strongest way of doing. To get the itqan of amal, the need of amal, we do precisely tak buat kerja cincai-cincai, we do it in proper manner, complete it. Okay, and jawdat al-adat is done task thoroughly as a completely. This is a whole part that involve or contribute to the quality of the character, or call it ihsan. And then we have a kafa'ah ability. This is a must for us as expert. We need to studies, we need to train ourselves, we need to get the whole knowledge to make sure that we are capable, have the ability to be as an expert in the certain field. This is it's important that we have to study hard, we have to study properly, so that we are actually protecting the public from our mistake. This is is related to the what we call the clinical judgment, or your appropriateness of the judgment. Decision that you did actually must be appropriate at that particular time, and then that have less harm to everybody. Okay, the Ansarullah, or willing to help. This is a character of that we want everybody, that we actually is having willing hand to help, holding everybody's, helping others, so that we can have perform it in the proper manner. Okay, this is important. Even in SASMAC, we have this as a motto for the hospital. We have to be amanah, responsibility, or we need to have encouraging to get the working spirit. This is related to the himmat al-amal, And then other things is awfu bil ud. This is what we call promises or akad ataupun kita panggil bai'ah. Every time when we come to the hospital, we come to the institution, wherever we work, we should have we call it bai'ah or aku janji or our declaration, so that we are actually want to perform the job, or we are doing it in the best manner that we could do. This is important, and then this is a big sunnah, and then we should do it in wherever we work, so that we have our promises, so ourselves, to our institution, to our colleagues, that we have to do the best. That is actually a good practice that we could do. In suspect, actually, we are doing it for the patient to get their consent, to get the son to willing for that, and also we are actually introducing the bai'ah or aku janji for the people who are working here, because one, we want to make sure that you feel that you are part of the institution, part of the hospital. Okay, the concept of professionalism, I think we are repeating ourselves, life awareness as well as expertise. And then this is the most important thing. These two things must be done because of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay, we have to do it through the niyah, and then sincerely for the God, not only for the human or for the payment or whatever. Okay. How is a professionalism judged? Okay, the professional judge is according to kita panggil apa? The few values that will show by your behaviors, and then the most important part. This is come from studies. How the patient, how the community, how the people out there looking at the doctors. This is by ranking. The most important part of the professionalism is the competence, whether the doctor is competent or not competent. How they are communicating with us, which is I think is something we need to stress more and more, so that we can improve our day-to-day communication. Our communication must become habitual. The appearance, our appearance, how we dress, how we look like, and the way how we groom or kept our entire completely. Shows that this is we are doctors, and then is something which is actually presentable. They may know how is our forward outlook, where we always smile, we always have the body gesture which is appropriate for us as doctors when we are dealing with a patient. Other than that, is about the confidence, knowledge, conscientiousness, integrity, respect, the emotional intelligence, how we share the emotion with the patient, how we are giving the sympathy or empathy, which is more important, more appropriate as a surgeon, also as a doctor, as a physician. Okay, then must be appropriateness. This is how the people will judge us as professionalism. I don't go to very specific example, but it's important because everybody, the patients are looking at us. The nurses are looking at us. Our supporting staff are looking at us. Even our colleague also looking at us, how we perform it, how we give our judgment, or we give our the decision in terms of a certain things. For example, if you are the head department or you are the consultant, you should give the judgment which is considering everything. We have to be considerate in terms of the perform that. Like I said just now, most of the time the value is the one that the themes that we are actually is counted, but there are shows about our behavior. whether we are arrive on time in terms of discipline. Okay, we accept the blame for failure, how we react to the any advice by others. We are and then in terms of within colleagues, we show how mature we are as macam kita ni postgraduate. When come to the exam, when come to the assessment, the most important things we are looking at our maturity, how matured we are when dealing with the situation. This is the one that differentiate the specialist and then the medical officer and then the houseman. Because once you go through the process from houseman, medical officers, registrar, and then become specialist and become consultant, this is a process of maturity, and then you become wiser and wiser. Communication skill that we have mentioned, all the things that we mentioned, and how you respect others. It's important for us to mention about the sensitive issue, how we deal with a certain sensitive issue, how we are tackle the one that consider sensitive for certain individual. Even if is he or she is our junior or our colleagues or our MO, our houseman, but we still have to take care, respect them as such. Because remember, when we are once a houseman, we are once a MO, then how we look at our specialists, how we look at the consultant, similar things that will happen. Now you are become specialist, you are become consultant, we have to respect others as well. Even they are the cleaner of this one, or the PPK, or the attendants of the hospital. We should have a sensitivity as well as a respect of others. Okay, we go to the medical ethics. It's almost similar with the professionalism what we are discussing just now, but this medical ethics is something that important because they bound us into certain conduct that we have to follow. Okay, this is about the obligation of the doctors and hospital to the patient and with the other health professional and society. This is the health profession is they have a set of ethics, and then most of the time they have their own group ethics that they have follow, but they also have the general ethics, general professionalism that they have to follow. In Western, the ethical model emphasize on the good behavior with yourself as well as with the society. And on top of these ethicals, they also have the Islamic ethics, which is based on the Sharia, emphasize on being humble with Allah and other people. And then we always think of the consequences before we do something. This is a slightly different or additional thing in the Islamic medical ethics. For us, we are bound to the Code of Professional Conduct, MMC, okay, and then we have a medical act. For your information, or maybe you already know, the medical act is actually protecting the patient from the doctors. They are nothing to do with protecting the doctors. And then even the amendment of this one, the Regulation Act also, they are more of protecting the public, protecting the patient against the doctors. If you don't believe me, you go through this medical act properly, and then you see none actually is talking about the protection of the doctors. Code of Professional Conduct, as you mentioned, I think this is a good articles available in PDF from the MMC's website. It's good for us to go through at least to know what is our professional conduct. Then some of it actually is become issues if we currently do this in our practice. That is important for us to understand that. Okay. There is a 4 pillar of medical ethics that we define. I think this is something very familiar to you. the autonomy, the beneficence, no maleficence, as justice, which was there since centuries ago, and then we are followed by all doctors, and then lately there is scholars adding the health maximization, the efficacy and proportionality in terms of the medical ethics, which is, for example, depend on where you are. If you work in the public health, when you work in the hospital, in the operation theaters, everything, there is a certain medical, maybe there is a slightly weightage, different weightage. This is what we call it professionality. Okay, and then in Islam, there is no different or not much of the additional in terms of the core pillar that we need to follow, but the explanation of it related to what is important in terms of we are discussing the character of the professionalism just now. The major ethical issue in medicine, including this patient's right, the equality of resources, confidentialities of the patient, patient safety, conflict of interest, ethics in privatization, informed consent, dealing with the opposite sex, beginning and the end of life care, healthcare team ethics. This is all a lot of issues, which is, I think, and some of the issue will be presented as a scenario and then will be discussed further in the seminars. Okay, we talk about the physician ethics, adab team. This is important part in which I think it's important for us to emphasize the good doctor's ethic with a patient, with their family, either when you have doing the grand round or walk round in the bedside visit with the patient, and then the way that you are communicating with the caregiver, you should have the certain adab that you need to follow. The ethic of interaction between the gender is a gender issue. But the thing is nowadays we have our policy or guideline how to deal with the different genders issues, and then we edit the needs of the chaperone, because chaperones is important people who are actually must be there whenever we have the clinical setting, procedure whatsoever. Okay. In fact, in SASMEC, we already have this guideline where we have the consent for gender issues, including that covering the medical student, the doctors, the master students, everything. But we adding recently, when we have gender interaction, even the same sex, we should have the chaperone as well. Okay, because nowadays the situation going to be or is a bit different. Even there is a cases that that the sue or report, police report was made to the staff, similar sex, male with a male, but somehow they have something which is unethical, or the things happen actually is without knowing of others. For example, one male doctors are doing the PR for the rectal examination for the male patient, because they can be misinterpreted by the patient, the doctors, or doing something. But somehow we try to cover we call it cover this problem with putting the rules that whenever male or male, female or female, they need somebody else as a chaperone. Okay, so dealing with the family, for our hospital, we have very strict time for visitings, everything, and then not all the patient can be somebody can wait or can menunggu. But somehow in Islam, the bond with the families, the patient was admitted. By right, when patient was admitted, there is no much of restriction for them to actually see the family. But somehow, if we are keeping this one, we will cause a bit messy to our rulings. But somehow we have to be a bit more what we call negotiable in terms of letting the family to come to visit and then stay with the family. For example, in small children, and so this is important ethics that we have to follow, as well as we need to embark, or we need to introduce, so that we can don't let the bound patient with their relatives, their loved one actually is broken. Okay, the doctor's ethics in the healthcare team, and this is important, together with our colleague, how we communicate, how we call people. Nowadays, much less compared to before, that your consultant is calling you by certain names, certain bad name, or certain, calling monkey, donkey, whatsoever, which is very rude, as well as which is not acceptable. Okay, which is if you are looking at the latest Employment Act 2020, that is bullying, as well as the harassment is major changes that was mentioned in the new act. Okay, which is actually is related to our day-to-day works, which is good for us to understand very well. Okay, doctor-patient relationship, which is this prime element of a consultation, relationship, interaction between patient and then doctors. General features including the mutual respect, care, and communication between both parties must be very good. However, we have to know that most of the time when patient talking to you, there is a difference in terms of maybe level of education, level of thinking must be different. But for the best communication, the doctor have to come down at the level of the patient as much as they can. They can have to talk at the level similar, or at the similar level of the patient, so patient can understand. For example, we talk to the children, we talk to the pediatrics patient, we talk to the patient which is old patient. We have to adapt according to the proper communication skill that make them trust you, because this is the big trust, as well as a good rapport that is most important doctor-patient relationship that we need to develop. Okay, then patient highly ranked physician behavior related to communication skill. This is obvious. This is come from the studies from the patient perspective of the doctor. And then to add on the added value of that, we can chat about the non-medical topics with the patient. But now, I mean, they will cost you a bit more time to spend with the patient, and allowing time for the exchange of view with the patient. This is a good thing, especially when we're discussing about the patient-centered approach in the medical field. Okay, clinical decision making. Our profession is to heal. Our profession to heal, but we are not the one who the ultimate healer. We are only the agent of the healing, the agent of the healer. We consider a right healing or good healing action for the patient for their particular disease or problem. Right healing action is one informed by the scientific or clinical evidence. This is what we are doing in the clinical setting. This is things that we do according to our knowledge that we learned before. Okay, but the second one is a good healing action is the acting according to the patient's value, preference, and it also consistent with the physician's own clinical judgment. This is a basis of how we should do this clinical decision making, not only consultant decision making, which is more of instructive in nature, but also we have to consider others. In fact, sometimes we need to ask our junior, our colleagues, specialist colleagues, or our registrar or others when we want to make a clinical decision, because the opinion of others is sometimes actually is maybe better than you make your own decision alone. Okay, then this is clinical judgment consists of 3 steps. There's 3 types. Either diagnostic question, what is wrong with the patient? We come to the diagnosis or whatever you want to do. And then the therapeutic question, what can be done for the patient? Then you decide what to do. What you can do to treat the patient condition. And that the third thing is most important, which is consider a holistic way of managing it. Okay, prudential question, what should be done for this patient? Means that you are considering other things as well. You're considering their family, you're considering patient ability, you're considering patient, whether patient portion pocket, whether they have the money to pay whatsoever. This is important in terms of decision making. Okay, this is why decision making is important in professionalism. We are talking about the patient-centered care just now. We are aware, WHO in 2015 has come out with the principle of patient-centered care, in which we are respecting patient in terms of when you want to make a decision, treatment, therapeutics, everything. We are avoid the traditional paternalistic model, is give arahan, bagi or decide. We are doctors that decide everything for patient. Okay, make a medical decision, which is now not acceptable already. Patient prefer active involvement in continuity of their care. We have to continue of clinical signals, trustworthiness, and then we have the professional patient interaction, and then we have also to consider patient satisfaction, adherence to the treatment given. Okay, so in other words, then we have to make sure that patient involved in the management of their problem. Okay, as well as you need to train them how we should perform when they back home with to comply with all the treatment given to them. So this must be a mutual agreement between patient and then doctors. Effective communication, we talked about a lot of communication just now, but this is the first thing fail when the communication will fail when we are giving the information for patient, but we never thought whether the patient understand or not understand. We thought we giving information that patient already understood, which is wrong. Always we have to make sure that this communication, the delivery, and then the way that you deliver it, and then patient can understand. Patient can give you the feedback whether they can understand or not understand. This is effective communication. That makes sure we have to understand like you are taking consent, we have to give most information. Always tell the truth, although we cannot tell all the truth, because sometimes they ruin our profession as well. This is something that we have to think of this one. So the good doctor-patient communication improve the effectiveness of consultant and the treatment. This is actually a lot of study done. This is things that need to be always remember for us in improve our communication. If you don't have the good communication skill, please go and learn how to do an effective communication. Okay. We are talking about a few issues, so we have a few more minutes. Okay, we talk about the privacy, confidentiality, and consent. Privacy and confidentiality, we shouldn't mention anywhere. Don't talk about the patient privacy or patient confidentiality to anybody, even to your spouse or even to your family, even to your own colleagues, unless there is a necessary for making a decision to get your opinions, everything. So, but must be exclusive to the groups. Okay, so and then about the consent and refusal of a treatment. This depends. If there is a patient is competent adult, then they have a right, full right to do patient right that we are talking about this before, right? Competence adult, incompetent adults, or patient mentally ill person or in children, they have a different way how to going to manage it. We need the people who are actually is a caregiver or something which is close, the next of kin for the patient, to actually is come to the discussion how to whether is they are need to understand, patient cannot understand that they have to understand the whole thing, and then maybe they can actually is give the consent or actually is a partial consent for it. Unconscious patient, they need there is a way, the step that we have to do, how to get it or the give the consent when patient is unconscious. Maybe we need the two consultant or two consultant to sign the consent form. The obstetric patient, especially patient in emergency, there is nobody, patient also cannot give a consent, but there is it is important. I think it's a need to be discussed further how we should actually is obtain the consent for the patient with the emergency in obstetric as well. Medical error, okay. Doctors' misconduct is actually happening, always happen, but it's important for us to take a measure to overcome the doctor's misconduct, like abuse of a professional privilege. We are doctors and we are able to see the patient data, everything, then we use it to leak to others. For example, to leak to the lawyers, everything, or to the insurance company, whatsoever, which is without the consent of the patient, which is actually this is a misconduct that can happen. Private misconduct, okay, is individual misconduct we do to the patient, or use a patient as a minor. Patient is which is actually is leads to your doctor's reputation as well. Public professional misconduct. Sometimes we publicize our service, our result, which is according to our code of professional conduct, which is not allowed to publish ourselves or to advertise ourselves in the social media whatsoever. Okay, medical malpractice and medical negligence is a big topic, and then we have to know what is our liability, what type of liability that we have in terms of medical practice, because this is a lot of the situation, the thing is coming, and then a lot of things that can happen in terms of when we do something consider the medical negligence, and then if happen, the damage happen or injury happen to the patient, we can be sued. We call it court procedures. And then this can happen to anybody, even though we are now easily covered by the indemnity insurance, everything. But we never know what can happen to us, what never can happen to the institution as well. The reputation of ourselves, reputation of the hospital will be affected. It's important now we have to have to avoid or prevent the malpractice, okay, and then prevent the medical negligence. The first thing is by having good knowledge, skills in terms of certain things. We are privileged to do the procedure we do. If we don't have the privilege, don't do, because we are liable. We have a liability to be sued, and then we have not achieved the skill that we need to do. Or can happen actually is prescribe the wrong drugs and then cause damage to the patient, everything. This is can happen to us, and then this is something that we have. Most important, we do something, especially when you relate to the patient, you have to really document it properly. I know nowadays it's a bit difficult because we have to open the computer, or we have to go to the computer and then type something, then only when the two is become documented. So that is a part of the problem, the challenge that we have to face. But this is something which is serious. And then, you know, the numbers or the amount of the sue law by the law actually is increasing, and then is you know, there is a lot of the example that you can follow is a certain the medicals or anesthetists, and then they have to sometimes we are not only to get the need to get a good indemnity insurance, but also we need to have the protection or prevention measure from this liability. So before we can be sued, okay, actually is being sued and then go to court, defend yourself actually is a nightmare for every doctors. They, you know, they will affect your daily activity. There a lot of things that can be affected by that. Okay, the outcome-based professionalism ethics. How we know that this is we have good professional by looking at the clinical decision, looking at the doctor's relationship with the patient. The improvement of the quality care, patient-centered care actually is practicing, and then the sounds good communication skill is there. So this is the outcome base that we want. The challenges, because of declination of professionalism, interpersonal skill, and then you know, for like people like you all in the during training, you have a distress experience in training, that then after that you actually some sort of a revenge when you become a specialist. This is actually things that you need to think because as you mentioned, that is important for us to let it be, and then take it as something which is important for us to do. Make sure that you can do the good communication skill. Okay, and then other things is we have a large geographical variation in healthcare. For example, you know, some people sent to Sabah, Sarawak, and now you see, you don't think that you are sent to the remote hospital in Sabah, Sarawak, or the the other small hospital. You can do whatever you like. The interpersonal skills, the professionalism must be kept properly as well. Okay, interaction with everybody. The ethical value and the code suite we are discussing about just now. There are a lot of things that are happening. They are challenging. There is increasing. The time constraint on healthcare providers like us. We have to give time to talk to the patient longer. We don't really have a really good time. But somehow, please balance yourself. You have to balance yourself as a doctor, as a surgeon, everything. Sometimes you need to sacrifice certain things to get something better. Okay. Then safety of patient and confidentialities. That we just talked about that just now. The safety, patient safety and confidentiality is a paramount important, especially in terms of the medical care. So make sure that patient have a get a good, as well as avoid giving the wrong medication, wrong treatment for the patient, which is going to be soon. Okay. Okay, conflict of interest, we already discussed about it. The conflict interest of as a doctors. Sometimes a doctor also have the business. So sometimes doctor also have come out in the tender of the hospital, in the clinics or whatsoever. You have your private practice outside, and then you are practicing in the hospital. You bring the patient to the private clinic, which is a non-ethical actually. Okay. How should you dedicate and professional, and then you have a core value. You have to get things done in timely and thoroughly manners, be disciplined, focused, honest, polite, fair, and others. These are all the good things about semua. But you know what I actually is proposing. We are mentioning everything is good, but the best way to learn the professionalism is you to identify what is the non-professional or unprofessional things. I give you a simple example is whenever you have all the film dramas in the TV, so like Grey's Anatomy, like Scrub, House, Doggy MDs, whatsoever that we have in the dramas. Actually, they are portraying the unprofessional ethics and also behavior, which is good to identify one by one to show this is unprofessional thing, this is unprofessional, this is out of the Islamic principles, everything. Then you learn. This is the best way to learn the professionalism, actually, by looking at what is unprofessional, whether it's good or not good. This is what we are going to model, give you scenarios, then you discuss about the scenarios, then after that we come out with what is the best solution that you should have. In summary, a physician should have a good professional and a good working ethics. Always adhere yourself to the code of ethics, because we are actually already bound ourselves as a doctors. And then please keep it right. Take your work as trust, amanah, involving the sincerity or intention. Your niyat must be ikhlas, okay? And then good quality works. It can't, you have to work hard. Ihsan, you have to get the best out of your work. Okay, this is there, and then must be accountability. Accountability means you have to be ready to make a correction, to make amendment, and then you have to be open from others' critics as well as advice. Okay, for the discussion, I think is I will stop here. Hopefully, we can add a few more questions before we stop for Zuhur, inshallah. Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Prof, for the very interesting lectures about professionalism. It's something very close to us because this is what we have been doing on daily basis to remain as a clinician, in the same time a professional, and also as a Muslim. There's two questions so far, or maybe three. One is about asking, or is it ethical to advise patient to do zikr, to remember Allah most of the time during their illness, especially when they have emotional or psychiatric illness? Because the participant who asked this question said that one of her friend was advised by her specialist not to do so, in terms of reminding the patient to zikr. If it is permissible, what is the best way to do so?
Okay, Jazakallah for the question. I think it's very relevant question, because we in the medical field, we have our own opinions. Most of the time they have a different approach in terms of patient. Regarding the zikir, not only zikir, in terms of ibadah, in terms of whatever we do. The first thing as doctors or as of the physician, or the one who are in charge of the patient, we have to assess the patient, what does the patient needs. Patient needs, patient preference is something that something which is the item that lost in our clinical setting. We never ask the patient. We are always given the instruction. Okay, we never encounter what is the good things that we should tell the patient as well. So the first thing that we need, actually, we need to assess the patient condition. We need to assess the patient whether this one is nothing wrong with asking the patient, giving zikr, whatever, reading Quran, everything, because there is a lot of studies shows they will give the health benefit, healing benefit. Few studies regarding the healing when you patient practicing reading Quran, reciting Quran, get reciting zikr, whatsoever. We have to go individually, but in general, for us, even for the clinician, I don't mention it in the professionalism. For the clinician, for the doctors, for this one, we should have our self-care, good self-care. Okay, good self-care in terms of practicing our ibadah as well, practicing our Quran, practicing, good niyyah to come to work is also that is important. For the patient also, the words for the patient actually is come for your inner insight. If you think this is actually is a benefit for the patient, then for sure you will tell the patient. Because I think it's nothing wrong unless this will cause patient abandon their treatment whatsoever, or in fact we are practicing even patient before we induce a patient in operation theater. We ask a patient to recite shahada. We ask a patient to give salawat. So make the patient feel comfortable. I don't know. I'm not sure, but that is my opinion. And then this is actually not wrong to do that. And then I will encourage even for the physician to talk about something spiritual with their patient as well, rather than just treat the patient as a subject. You take the patient as a human being.
Okay, Prof. Another question. I mean, when talking about giving advice for the patient, especially performing the salah or zikr. Sometimes when we have patient not complying to our medication, we can be stern. But when we are dealing with a patient, especially elderly patient or a respected patient, and we notice that they didn't perform the salah during their stay in the hospital or during admission, what is the best way? Because we know that it's not correct not to perform salah, but in the same time to remain our respect and also our professionalism in advising them to commit to perform salah. Can you share your experience, Prof?
Yeah, but that is something very common. As ourselves, as individually, preaching is important. When the preaching is not checking, we have to remind the patient. Reminding the patient in terms of doing good deeds, salah, taking medicine, taking everything. Reminder is our task. But whether the patient do or not do, that is actually something personal. If we remind them, they still don't do, we can't really do anything. You can't actually force patient to pray. You cannot, because that is individually. The most important for us actually is keep reminding, and then bil hikmah, maknanya kita have to be talking to the patient in the best way so that they don't feel like broken heart. Dia tak terasa hati, dia tak terasa kita ni mengajar dia. We don't want that kind of input with the patient. We want them to feel like this is a comfortable thing. That we need to remember Allah, the best that we remember Allah, don't forget our obligation of salah, everything. That is actually a reminding, rather than actually you are checking patient doing. You tak salat, you ni tak salat apa semua, masuk neraka. No such thing. That is actually up to the patient. Most important for us as a doctors, as a medical practitioner, as a this one, we have to remind them and relate the things to the outcome, the best outcome that is good for healing, which is bil hikmah. And then I think that is a better way of doing, rather than you become the interrogator, the investigator. Yeah.
Okay, Prof. Last question, maybe from the point of view of professionalism. Sometimes patient they take time to come to us because they are afraid of doctors, and someone is very alien to them. So some physician approach to break the ice with this new patient which first time came to the doctor, by some jokes or some humors. Is this kind of humors or joke actually affecting the professionalism as a doctor, because it is supposed to be a serious thing, patient is ill or having some disease? Is it affecting or not?
Yeah, I think that is a good question. This is an approach of patient. You know, in clinical, the first things that we should develop is actually we need to build trust for the patient. That is a first principle that anybody, when we deal with the patient, we need to build trust with the patient. How the best way, what is the best way we develop a trust of the patient? The first thing, you have to connect yourself to the patient. In medical, we call it a develop rapport with the patient. We have to really assess the patient condition, the acceptance of the patient, and then how we are going to tackle this condition. This is an important part when you are actually doing something that assessment, at the same time you are introducing something which is maybe patient don't like it. This is something which is you have to decide. So you have to do something which is to connect yourself to the patient. I'll give you a simple example. I will always give a simple example like this. When we talked about something depressed patient, school boys who have the open fracture, and then open fracture tibia is a few days before they got the SPM, something like that. When nurses always told me, "Doctor, nak patient tu nampak tak nak cakap, tak nak ni apa semua." And then you know that the patient something like, our nurse actually is doing the initial assessment of the patient already. You can see they can actually detect something which is not right for the patient. So we approach the patient, you clerk the patient, you want to, before then you ask the patient, bagi salam, biasa kita bagi salam, we touch the hand, everything, give a bit of touching, and then we bring the chairs rapat to us, and then put ourselves as level as a patient. Okay, then once you start our conversation by asking the patient, where do you live? Boleh saya tanya ke? Ataupun are you willing to talk to me or whatsoever? This is kita panggil spiritual approach. So then when patient say apa semua, patient tak nak cakap, tanya dia sekolah kat mana, accident kat mana. Then patient say, suddenly patient said, sekolah jatuh masa balik tuition dekat sekolah apa semua. Kat sekolah mana? Kat sekolah kebangsaan, sekolah menengah Indah Mahkota 2. Saya pun cakap, saya tiap-tiap hari saya pergi kerja, saya lalu kat sekolah tu. Nampak tak? The way is try to find something in common you with your patient. Nothing to do with one. Saya pun tak pernah jumpa dia pun tak pernah tengok saya tak pernah jumpa kereta saya pun. But the most important thing, we are connecting with a certain common thing. Then dia baru dia boleh nak mau cakap apa semua. Then only we can ask him further, and then correct what is the problem with the patient actually. So sometimes what the patient complain is not the main complaint. Okay, what we have to really actually is start doing the snowballing. When patient mention something, keep on asking with their keywords, asking something. Then patient start talking to you. That's how you develop your rapport with the patient and build trust with the patient, which is, I think, is an important technique for all doctors to listen. So don't abandon the patient. Please be empathy with the patient condition. Then patient already admitted to the ward, and then you have to cut their relation, or you cut the bond with their families, everything. Yeah.
Understood. Thank you, Prof, again for the lectures and also sharing your experience answering the question. I think it's a very good input for us as a junior specialist or specialist to be in our practice later on in future. So I think we end our session for the morning session. Inshallah, we'll continue again. Thank you, Prof, again for your lectures. And then so it's already Zuhur, so you can take this time to perform your Zuhur prayer and also take your lunch. Inshallah, we'll meet again in 40 minutes time at 2 p.m. to continue with the group presentation. So for then we'll end this session. If there's any shortcoming from the organizer, we're really sorry about that. We end this session with a pantun.
Kalau ada jarum yang patah, jangan disimpan di dalam peti. Kalau ada silap dan salah, jangan disimpan di dalam hati. So insyaAllah we'll meet again at 2. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
مصطفى حبيبي كان نبيك مصطفى. You came to me in time of despair. I called on you, you were there with love. What would my life be to not know the unseen, the worlds between? For you I'd sacrifice, for you I'd give my life, anything, just to be with you. I feel so lost at times by all the hurt and lies. Now all I want is to be with you. Allahumma salli ala sayyidina Mustafa ala habibika nabiyika Mustafa. Showed me right from wrong, told me to be strong, need you more than ever, Ya Rasulullah. You came to me and out of me, need you more than ever, Ya Rasulullah. You filled my heart with love, showed me the light above. Now all I want is to be with you. You are my one true love, taught me to never judge. Now all I want is to be with you. Allahumma salli ala sayyidina Mustafa ala habibika nabiyika Mustafa. Allahumma salli ala sayyidina Mustafa ala habibika nabiyika Mustafa. Be with you, you are my one true love, taught me to never judge. Now all I want is to be with you. Allahumma salli ala sayyidina Mustafa ala habibika nabiyika Mustafa. You came to me in a time of despair. I called on you, you were there with love. What would my life be to not know the unseen, the worlds between? For you I'd sacrifice, for you I'd give my life, anything, just to be with you. I feel so lost at times by all the hurt and lies. Now all I want is to be with you. Allahumma salli ala sayyidina Mustafa ala habibika nabiyika Mustafa. Showed me right from wrong, told me to be strong, need you more than ever, Ya Rasulullah. You came to me and out of me, need you more than ever, Ya Rasulullah. You filled my heart with love, showed me the light above. Now all I want is to be with you. You are my one true love, taught me to never judge. Now all I want is to be with you. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Mustafa ala habibika nabiyika Mustafa. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Mustafa ala habibika nabiyika Mustafa. With you, you are my one true love, taught me to never judge. Now all I want is to be with you. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Mustafa ala habibika nabiyika Mustafa. You came to me in a time of despair. I called on you, you were there. Without you, what would my life be? To not know the unseen, the worlds between. For you I'd sacrifice, for you I'd give my life, anything, just to be with you. I feel so lost at times by all the hurt and lies. Now all I want is to be with you. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Mustafa ala habibika nabiyika Mustafa. Showed me right from wrong, told me to be strong, need you more than ever, Ya Rasulullah. You came to me and out of me, need you more than ever, Ya Rasulullah. You filled my heart with love, showed me the light above. Now all I want is to be with you. You are my one true love, taught me to never judge. Now all I want is to be with you. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Mustafa ala habibika nabiyika Mustafa. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Mustafa ala habibika nabiyika Mustafa. With you, you are my one true love, taught me to never judge. Now all I want is to be with you. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Mustafa ala habibika nabiyika Mustafa. You came to me in a time of despair. I called on you, you were there. Without you, what would my life be to not know the unseen, the worlds between? For you I'd sacrifice, for you I'd give my life, anything, just to be with you. I feel so